Hello, welcome to all. Today I'm going to discuss about few important formulae being used in engineering economics. Okay. At the same time, we are supposed to understand again a cash flow diagram, which will be used to derive these expressions. So this is a typical sketch of a cash flow diagram. Along x-axis, we have the time intervals. Okay, maybe in any units, a day, week, month, or year. So along the x-axis, whatever you see, they are the time periods, and along the y-axis, we'll be having the cash flow. Okay, plus y-axis is always a cash inflow, and minus y-axis is going to be our cash outflow. So this is a typical cash flow diagram. This cash flow diagram is very much important because our cash flow statements are so complicated that they become difficult to understand if you write down those things in a word or words. Okay, so if we could represent in a graphical way, it makes us easy to understand the cash flow in a provided system. So that's why cash flow diagrams are being used. Okay, so this is the cash inflow and this is the cash outflow. And at the same time, in the last class, we discussed about simple interest and then the compound interest. Okay. Basically, in most of the cases, we will be using a compound interest. Most cases, compound interest is being used, and hence so the same concept is being dealt in the series of lectures here in engineering economics. So we'll just try to understand few different interest formulae. For the first case, now we will try to discuss interest formula for a single payment series. Okay, so this is a single payment series. This is a typical cash flow diagram where I am I am having either a cash inflow or a cash outflow at a given zero time unit. Okay, and then what I may get as a future value after some n period of time, maybe a inflow or a outflow. Okay, so only single payment compound is being done here. Here the objective is to find a single future sum f of the initial payment p made at time 0 after n periods of an interest n periods at an interest rate of I compounded every year. So here I am using the term compounded every period. The cash flow diagram is shown here. So this is a cash flow diagram. Along the x-axis we have time, that is n periods. So at zero time I am like an example, I am keeping some fixed deposit in the bank, and I may have to wait for some series of months so that I could get a future someday or the future value, future worth. Okay, so how do we get this after so n number of periods after at a rate of I percent? What will be this? What will this happen? What will happen to this p? So to get the f value, so the relation between p and f are being calculated. Uh, uh, Case here, that is case A. Okay, you can make a pause of the video and please move on this cash flow diagram. So case one, it is about finding f when we have a given present work value at zero time when given p. We'll just try to understand it. The principal sum p at zero time will grow to future amount at the end of 1 year as, okay, what will happen to my principal amount at the end of here? I just mentioned it as 1 year, but it is one unit of a time. Can be a week, can be a month, can be a year. Okay. But just for the simplicity, I have taken it as year here. I'll just continue with the same thing. Okay. The principal sum at time 0. So I am keeping some amount in the bank, so that is a negative flow, and I'm going to take it after some period. That is my positive flow. That will be my inflow. So what will be the value of f after such so number of years? First, what will happen to this p at the end of first year? I have some principal amount p, okay, at a rate interest of I. Then after 1 year, the p will be changed to p plus pi. Okay, after 1 year, it will change to p plus pi. I is the interest, and p into I is the interest amount on my present value or on my principal sum. Okay, so p is being common, that will be equals to P into 1 plus I. So this is my amount at the end of 1 year. What will happen to this amount at the end of second year? Now it's very simple. At first year, now I have P into 1 plus I, isn't it? So my interest on P into 1 plus I, that is the total amount at second year. P into 1 plus I plus interest amount on the principal of P into 1 plus I. So what will happen is P into 1 plus I is common here. So I'm just taking it outside, then it will be multiplied by 1 plus I. Okay, this is a multiplication. So this will happen to P into 1 plus I raised to 2. So at the end of second year, this will change to, or my future value at the end of second year will be P into 1 plus I raised to 2. Similarly, at the end of third year, it will be P into 1 plus I raised to 3. At the end of fourth year, it will be P into 1 plus I raised to 4. So at the same time, at the end of nth year, my future value is going to be equals to P into 1 plus I raised to n. So F is equals to P into 1 plus I raised to n, or else F by P, that's equals to 1 plus I raised to n. So keep, this is my equation 1. Please remember this equation. My future value compounded in a single payment, it will be equals to P into 1 plus I raised to n at the end of nth year at an interest rate of I. Okay. Now, the quantity 1 plus I raised to n is commonly called single payment compound amount factor. It's called as single payment compound amount factor, indicated by the functional notation as F by P, comma I, comma n. That's how economists represent this. Okay, the relation between F by P, comma I, comma n is equals to, it's equals to F by, this means F by P is equals to 1 plus I raised to n. This is my equation 1. Or else my F future value is a function of P, that's equals to P into a function of F by P, comma I, comma n. The same thing. You need not remember this equation 1, wherever I have written it as a number equation 1. This you must remember. Okay. Now in case I have a F value, I know, like say suppose at the end of fifth year I want say 10 lakh rupees. So how much I should keep it in a bank at zero time right now, so that that P will be compounded to F. That is the second case here. Okay, it is about finding the value of P when we have, or when we know the future value. We already know this formula. F is equals to P into 1 plus I raised to n. Then what will happen to P? P is equals to F into, or it's P is equals to F divided by 1 plus I raised to n. Okay, and the quantity 1 divided by 1 plus I raised to n is called a single payment present worth factor, indicated by a functional symbol as P by F, comma I, comma n. Okay, so if you could remember this equation 1, you can also get this equation 2. Now here you know the future value, and what you want is the P value now. Okay, so we can comfortably calculate this. We'll go with this simple numerical here. With the formula what we have dealt. A person deposits a sum of rupees 20,000 at the interest rate of 18% compounded annually for 10 years. Find the maturity value after 10 years. He is depositing right now, that is my P value. So capital P is rupees 20,000 at the interest rate of 18%. So I is 18%, which is compounded annually. And what we want is, what will be the value of this 20,000 at the end of 10 years? So my n is equals to 10 years. And we know that F is equals to P into 1 plus I raised to n. We know the value of P, we know the value of I, and we know the value of n. Substitute them. Okay. So we will get the answer as like 1,04,680. 20,000 into 1 plus 18 is 0.18. raised to n. N is 10 here. So we will be getting around 1,04,680 rupees. So it means that the maturity value of 20,000 invested now at 18% compounded yearly is equals to around rupees 1,04,680 after 10 years. Okay, so that's how we can calculate the future value. Next, we will try to calculate the present worth and we will provided if we know the future value. Okay, so just go with the next problem. A person wishes to have a future sum of rupees 1 lakh for his son's education after 10 years from now. What is the single payment that he should deposit now so that he gets the desired amount after 10 years? The bank gives 15% interest rate compounded annually. So we know the future sum, that is future value is rupees 1 lakh, and we know the interest rate as 15% or 0.15, and n is 10. Okay, and what we want is the present value or the principal amount, and we know the formula P is equals to F divided by 1 plus I raised to n. So substitute everything in this expression and you will be getting P as the principal sum as around rupees 24,720. Okay, so the person has to invest rupees 24,720 now, so that he will get a sum of rupees 1 lakh after 10 years at 15% interest rate compounded annually. Okay, we'll go with the next set of formulae here. It is interest formulae for equal payment series. My case A was we dealt with the formulae when we had only single payment. Okay, now we are going to deal with the multiple payments, that is annuities at the end. Say an example for the annuity will be like I am taking a loan for a home construction. Okay, what does it mean? I take a loan from the bank for the house construction, and at the end of every month, I'm supposed to pay back to the bank. I'm supposed to pay back to the bank. That is annuity. At every month, I am paying back to the bank from where I have taken the loan. So that sum which I am paying back to the bank, they are called as annuities. They are called as annuities. Okay. Now we'll just go with the formula. Just to make you understand, I have written some diagrams here. This is my cash flow diagram, the previous case. If I know the P value in a single payment mode, if I know the P value, then I know the interest value and I know the number of years. Can we calculate F? Certainly yes, because we know this F is equals to P into 1 plus I raised to n. Isn't it? Now the case is, here I know future value. F is known, but I want to know the principal amount I want to invest. So can we calculate that? Certainly yes, because we know F and I want P, whereas we know that we have derived just now, okay, where P is equals to F divided by 1 plus I raised to n. So we know this formula, isn't it? Right? Now, in the same way, the same technique I am applying here. The same technique I am applying here. This cash flow diagram is for like an example. I am investing right now in a bank, a huge amount I am investing in a bank, so that I can draw some amount as an annuity. I can draw some constant amount as an annuity at the end of every month. So that is my A value. Okay. Say if I keep 1 lakh amount, it means that at a provided interest rate, maybe nearly in and around, I can draw around 2,000 rupees from the bank every month. If I keep a deposit of rupees 1 lakh in the bank, that will be my interest amount that I can take. The same way, it's like annuity. The same thing happens here. I am keeping some amount in the bank, that is a negative flow, so that I can draw some constant amount at the end of every month. Okay. So now what we know is, I know the annuity values. Say I know this annuity value. Now We are deriving an expression between the P and the A value here. Okay. I am deriving an expression between the P and the A value. Let us forget about all this. Now only come to the first year. At the end of first year, a year or a month, okay, I am taking an annuity of A. But what is the value of this A at 0 time? Now here, this case is similar to this case. At the end of one period, I know the F value and I want to calculate the principal amount at 0 time. Okay, so what will happen to this A? At 0th time, it will be, my principal amount will be P1. Okay, and P1 will be equals to A divided by P1 will be equals to A divided by 1 plus I raised to n. This A value changes to, this A value is equals to P1 value at the 0th time. And what is that P1 equals to? It is A divided by 1 plus I raised to n. Similarly, at the end of second period, I am again having this value A. But what is the amount or what is the value of this A at 0 time? Here I am at the second period. So let P2 be the amount, equivalent amount at the 0 time for A, and my P2 will be equals to A divided by 1 plus I raised to 2. Similarly here my P3 will be equals to A divided by 1 plus I raised to 3. So it is up to some n number of A values where my Pn is equals to A divided by 1 plus I raised to n. Okay, so what I have done is I have got the present values or the principal values at 0 time for all these annuities. Now if I add all these things, I will be getting my initial total principal. So P is equals to P1 plus P2 up to Pn. Okay, so this is some simple concept behind this. Next we will go with this case. Interest formula for equal payment series. Okay, so I'm investing something at 0 time so that I could get my annuities at every end of the period here up to nth period, right? Then what will my P equals to? My P, the total sum P is equals to, it is A divided by 1 plus I raised to 1 plus, that means present value at 0 time, plus A divided by 1 plus I raised to 2. This is the present value at 0 time for the second annuity here. Similarly here for the third annuity, it will be A divided by 1 plus I raised to 3 plus up to A divided by 1 plus I raised to n. Okay. Now A is being common. I'm just taking A as a common outside here, multiplied by this. So this numbers, they are in geometric progression, whereas my first term is 1 upon 1 plus I. My geometric ratio is 1 upon 1 plus I. Okay, so sum of all the terms in the geometric progression equation is A into 1 minus R raised to n divided by 1 minus R. So if I substitute these values, I will be getting P as in the form of A, that is equation 2. So I'm just read out the equation. P is equals to A multiplied by 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 divided by I into 1 plus I raised to n. Okay, this is my second equation. And the quantity in the parenthesis here, it's in the square bracket, is called as equal payment series present worth factor, indicated by functional notation as P by A comma I comma N. Okay. See, most of the textbooks, they don't derive the expression, they just write these expressions. If you want to know how they are being derived, please try to understand this. So, now going to case 4. This is the formula. If I know the value of A, if I know I, and if I know N, it's possible to calculate the present value at 0 time using this formula. Now, if I know the present value, okay, how much annuity I may get at the end of every year or at the end of every period. So here I know the P value, but I don't know the A value. So if you could interchange these, like if you could simplify this equation 2 for A, that is the expression. Your annuity is equals to P into I multiplied by 1 plus I raised to n divided by 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. Okay, this is equation 3 and it's called as capital recovery factor with the functional symbol as A by P, comma I, comma n. Okay, now if we want the future value when we know the A value, okay, if we know the annuities and what will be my future value, that what will be the expression, we know that you, P is equals to F divided by 1 plus I raised to n. Okay, so I am using this equation here. I am using this equation 2. Same thing now. F divided by 1 plus I raised to n, that's equals to A into multiplied by this factor. Now if you could simplify this for F, you will get this fourth equation. So F is equals to A into 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 divided by I. Okay, so if we know the F value, it's possible to calculate, sorry, if we know the A value, it's possible to calculate the future worth also. And the factor in the bracket is called as equal payment series compounded amount factor, given by the fundamental notation as F by A, comma I, comma n. Okay, now the case is, if we know the future value, what will be the annuity? If I know the future value, what will be the annuity? We'll have to use the same equation 4 here to get the annuity value. So the annuity becomes A is equals to F multiplied by I divided by 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. And the quantity in the bracket, it's called as sinking fund factor using functional notation as A by F, comma I, comma n. We'll go with a simple numerical to understand this. A person who is now 35 years old is planning for his retired life. He plans to invest an equal sum of rupees 10,000 at the end of every year for the next 25 years, starting from the end of the next year. The bank gives 20% interest rate compounded annually. Find the maturity value of his account when he is 65 years old. So he is spending an equal sum of rupees 10,000 at every end of year. This means it is A value, annuity at the end of every year. He is paying, that is negative cash flow. So A is rupees 10,000, which is a outflow. Now N is 25 years. He is at the age of 35 now. He wants to take the amount. Okay, that's being mentioned here already for the next 25 years. So N is 25 years. Interest rate is 20%, and what is the future value? He's asking you the future value. So your cash flow diagram looks like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 25. At every month, he is keeping or he is like paying rupees 10,000. Okay, this is always an outflow here. But what will be the future value? We know this expression between F and A. So use this expression, F is equals to A into 1 plus I raised to n minus 1 by I. Okay, we know the A value, we know I, we know n. Substitute those things, we will get future value as rupees 47 lakh 19,810. The future of sum of annual equal payments after 25 years is equals to it's rupees 47 lakh 19,810. That's how the technique shall be used. The next numerical is, a company has to replace a present facility after 15 years at an outlay of rupees 5 lakhs. It plans to deposit an equal amount at the end of every year for the next 15 years at an interest rate of 18% compounded annually. Find the equivalent amount that must be deposited at the end of every year for the next 15 years. N is 15 years and this is my future value. After 15 years, an outlay of rupees. So that is my future value, rupees 5 lakhs. N is 15, I is 18, and he is asking you what he must deposit at the end of every year. That is annuity he is asking. Let us draw the cash flow diagram. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 15 years. Okay, at the end of every year, he is supposed to pay an annuity, that is always outflow, marked downwards, and we know the future value as 5 lakh here. We know the future value as 5 lakhs. So we have to use the formula between A and F. We know this. This is the formula. A is equals to F into I divided by 1 plus I raised to n minus 1. We know everything in the RHS part here. To substitute those values, then you will be getting A as rupees 8,200. So he has to pay an amount of rupees 8,200 at the for every year. Okay, up to 15 years, so that the amount will be converted into rupees 5 lakhs. Next numerical, a company wants to set up a reserve which will help the company to have an annual equivalent amount of rupees 10 lakhs for the next 20 years towards its employees' welfare measures. The reserve is assumed to grow at the rate of 15% annually. Find the single payment that must be made now as the reserve amount. Annually, he is supposed to. So, A value is rupees 10 lakhs here. Okay, he wants to take 10 lakhs as a reserve at the end of every year for his employees' welfare measures. Okay, so what he wants is at the end of every year, he is keeping some amount for the welfare. But what must a principal amount he should take it now? Okay, from the bank. That is the relation. That is what the problem says here. He has given you annuities. I is being given. N is 20 years, and you are supposed to calculate the present value. Okay, so substitute now. You are supposed to use the equation which involves A and P. We know the relation between A and P. This is the relation between A and P. Substitute everything, and you will be getting P as rupees 62 lakh 59,300. Okay, so if he wants to spend at the end of every year of a sum of rupees 10 lakhs for the welfare fund, now he should reserve the amount in the bank which is equivalent to around rupees 62 lakh 59,000. Okay. Next problem. A bank gives a loan to a company to purchase an equipment worth rupees 10 lakhs at an interest rate of 18% compounded annually. This amount should be repaid in 15 years in 15 yearly equal installments. Find the installment amount that the company has to pay to the bank. So what we know is the present amount rupees 10 lakhs, I is 18%, N is 15, and we have to calculate the annuity A. So the cash flow diagram is being mentioned here. Okay. Now we are supposed to calculate the annuity. So use the expression between A and P. So this is an expression between A and P. All the values are given. Substitute on the RHS. Substitute those, and you will be getting annuity as rupees 1,96,400. The annual equivalent installment to be paid by the company to the bank is rupees 1,96,400. Okay. Meanwhile, in the next session, we will discuss few more types of numericals. Thank you.